Welcome to the Emerging Professional at the Coffee Conversation Show, powered by the Emerging India Forum TIF and our tech partner, Prime Infotech Solution. Theme is coaching, creativity, and changing the world. We have with us Mark Fournier, founder, master success and life balance coach at Limitless, and the mastermind behind Limitless University. Mark Fournier, a three-time Emmy Award-winning filmmaker, a psychotherapist, life mastery, and peak performance coach, and the mastermind behind Limitless University. Mark's extraordinary journey spans decades of empowering others to live their fullest potential while pursuing his own passion for creativity and humanitarian work. In this episode, Mark opens up about the secrets to mastering a limitless life, the art of balancing multiple roles, and the power of purpose driven living. So, Mark, welcome to do this international coffee episode. I'll explain you the flow and the format. We have got three rounds: professional, personal, and a surprise rapid fire round, for which you have to be witty, fun, and quick. And you'll get to win this ebook, Mastering is Niche Marketing. So, friends, I'm Lion Amir Virani, host at Coffee Conversation show and legal tech evangelist at Prime Infotech Solution, author of 15 books. We help law firms, corporate legal, startup SMEs with world-class technology, software licensing, and tech training solutions. So my first question for your professional journey round, Mark, how has your journey been till date?
It's a question that I'm often asked, and I'd have to say that the short answer is it has been extraordinary. If I had it to do all over again, knowing that most of the most important things that have ever happened in my life, many of them started out as a challenge, something that I wouldn't have pursued to begin with, but life kind of threw them in the way. And in the process of overcoming them, I became more than I probably ever would have. So uh, I think maybe the best answer is that I've lived a life of no regret, and uh, and a life that I'm proud of, and that I hope to continue down this path.
Wow, beautiful. Okay, so Mark, what is the most significant challenge you have faced in your career and how did you overcome it?
Oh, wow. There have been so many.
I know, I
Oh my
know.
gosh. Um, I would probably have to say I went through a very um, contested 5.5 year divorce, and during that period, I needed to spend so much time on the legal side, answering motions and attending um, hearings, that I was no longer able to continue doing my work. I didn't have the time left. And so I wound up at the end of that period without any work at all. And I was almost 60 years old, and I'd never been without work. I started my first business when I was 5. And so I would have to say it was starting my entire career over from almost from scratch at the age of 60, and attempting to once again rebuild my career, uh, my business, my connections, and all the things that came with that. And I think a lot of folks might have just said, it's too late now. But uh, I didn't feel that that was an option for me. So yeah, starting my career almost from the beginning at the age of 60.
Okay, that was your challenging moment. Now let's go to your proudest moment. What is your proudest moment as a life mastery coach, and why does it stand out for you?
You probably won't be surprised that my proudest moment was when I reached the point in my career where I could look back and say, not only have I survived these challenges and not only have I rebuilt my career, but I am far more than I would have been. I'm far better than I would have been if it hadn't been for those challenges. So the very thing that was my most difficult became the most important thing that ever happened. And experiencing the things I did during those challenges and experiencing the things that happened in the process of rebuilding from scratch um, gave me insight I could have never gained any other way. And so now I'm able to coach people on almost every level, including those who are uh, going through things that they don't think they can overcome. So, so conversely, not only did it help me with my career, but now I'm able to help others who are also dealing with challenges that seem perhaps insurmountable.
Wow. Okay. So, Mark, how has a background in psychotherapy influenced the way you coach high achievers and elite performers?
Oh, okay. Well, that's an easy one. Obviously, uh, well, what I do when I do something, I want to do it all the way. I want to be the best that I can possibly be, which is really the reason I leave all those trophies up there in the background. Is it's my way of saying that uh, when I go for something, I go for it. And so when I decided to be a psychotherapist, I wanted to study every form, everything I possibly could understand about life and about the human psyche, about the nature of reality, about consciousness, and and in the process, not only did I gain insights that help me see into the lives of others, but I'm able to use them in my own life as well. So it's kind of like somebody who decides to be a baker. They never go hungry because they always have enough left for themselves as well. So really, psychotherapy, of course, has helped me help others in every single area of their lives because I have those insights. I can't fix a car. I I can't sew. There's a lot of things that I can't do. I'm not much of a cook, but I can sure help people find the cause and cure of all the things that are holding them back in their lives.
Wow. Beautiful. Okay. Let's continue the conversation. Uh, what's the most innovative idea or solution you have brought to your clients that truly transformed their lives?
Wow, the very most. I think it's probably, oh, there's a couple, but I'm going to throw this one out here. It's that our reality is just the stories that we believe. That's so powerful because we keep thinking reality is this stuff around us, but the stuff, that's just a background. And we all interpret the things that are happening around us differently. And so we can feel ineffective. We can feel as though we don't have enough power and control over our lives because we can't control everything around us. But it's teaching the lesson that we actually don't live in that world. We live in our mind. And if it's true that we live in the mind, and the mind is really comes down to our reality, these stories that we believe, well, we can control that. We can control our thoughts and our stories and our beliefs, which gives us control over almost every aspect of our life. And so I do spend a fair amount of time helping my clients understand this concept and then teaching them how to master the art of replacing stories that limit them or don't serve them with stories that that give them power and give them control over how they experience life.
Wow. Okay. Mark, how do you incorporate in your coaching program uh, for your the participants to live purpose-driven life?
Well, uh, I make sure that they understand these simple principles. I when people call me a success coach or even a life balance coach or however they choose to define me, I kind of simplify it and put it in lay terms, and I just say, listen, I'm not here to help you make $1 billion, and I'll show you how to make a lot more money. Yeah, but that's just a little teeny piece of it. What I'm really here for is to help you live uh, a, a happier, more fulfilling and meaningful life. And the meaningful part is that purpose driven. I help them understand that if you don't have meaning in your life, if you're not doing things that make you feel relevant, that may even leave a legacy, then life gets pretty empty when all we're doing is just striving to make life easier, make more money so you can hire people to do things for you, and so on and so forth. And I say, my clients, now I have my Limitless University to help the masses, to help the billions of people who don't have the resources create better lives. However, my one-on-one coaching clients are all high and ultra high net worth clients. So these people have 3, 4, 5 homes. They have, 10 cars. They have everything. And yet they don't come to me fulfilled and happy. In many, many cases, they come feeling like there's still something missing and wondering what could possibly be missing. I have everything I ever dreamed of. And then I say, well, do you have purpose? Your purpose used to be to make lots of money, and now you've done that. Now what's left? Your purpose has to extend beyond yourself. There's evidence that very few people are ever truly fulfilled unless they are living a life that's lived for others. And so then they get to figure out what that looks like for them. How can I make a difference in the lives of others? Not just in myself or just my family. How much more can I do for the world?
Wow. Okay. Uh, Mark, my very important question. What inspired to create Limitless University? What's the story behind this name? And what do you believe sets it apart from other coaching programs?
Sure. Thank you. So all of my life, I was raised to make a difference. It's just my mom just told all of us as we were children, it's leave this world better than the one you came into. Somehow make a difference. So I never had that moment where I grew up and one day decided I wanted to just, make donations or help people in one way or another. I was just raised that that's just how it's supposed to be. So all of my life, I stood on stage as a professional speaker when I was 18 years old. I wrote my first book when I was 19 years old. I was constantly looking for ways to make a difference. And actually, it started with my producing films for nonprofit organizations that would help them raise money and create awareness for their cause. And so this kind of grew into a nonprofit organization, and that nonprofit went through many changes as I would try to figure out how else can I make a difference? What is the purpose of this nonprofit? And I eventually ended up with the title of Limitless University as an organization whose purpose is to make the insights, the knowledge, the solutions to creating a happier, more fulfilling and meaningful life, to make that available to the masses, to everyone on earth, not just to someone who can afford me as a coach or can afford to hire or pay professional coaches, but to everyone, regardless of their income. And so the purpose of Limitless University is to give these folks, anyone who has access to the internet, a place to go to build a better life. And so we redesigned it and repackaged, and now we are just now preparing to really launch it along with curriculum, courses, podcasts like yours that are dedicated to helping others so that they don't have to spend a huge chunk of their income to learn these insights. I want these insights to be available to everyone, going all the way back to Lao Tzu and um, the great and the Buddha, and from every religion, from every area of life, to give them access in a way that can really change their life. So when I realized that the greatest difference that I felt that I could make in the world was by raising human consciousness, um, that's when I realized the purpose of this of Limitless University is ultimately to raise human consciousness, because an enlightened human being doesn't abuse. They don't allow abuse in their presence. They don't abuse themselves or others. They don't abuse the world. And I felt that if we could populate the world with more enlightened beings, they would turn around and find the solutions to all of the challenges that we're dealing with, from famine and hunger to war. And so it's a pretty big, pretty big goal. But I believe that I will get people like you to become a part of Limitless University, and it will become a platform for anyone who wants to make a difference. And people like you will, in addition to your platform, you'll send all of your wisdom to us and your books and your information so we can share it with the world. That was a long answer to a short question.
Okay. Uh, so let's continue conversation. Uh, you shared about your non-profit organization, uh, which my question will be on that. The name is Do Good Enterprise. Uh,
May
so
I
how
correct
did
you?
this name?
I'll correct you. Do Good is actually a division of Limitless
Oh,
University. So yeah, it's all right.
then
But it's a part of Limitless University, so it's all under that title. But let's go back to Do Good. Go ahead.
okay. Uh, so what are the activities under Do Good Enterprise?
So Do Good, it really began with a book that I wrote called The Giving Game. And the giving game is really comes down to showing the world that this life, the greatest life is a life lived for others, and it teaches the concept of, rather than trying to see what you can get from the world and what you can get from others, is to spend your life asking, what can I give? What can I do? And of course, do good is a simple enough idea of, well, just imagine living your life with the idea that my purpose in life is to do good whenever I can, wherever I can, kind of like that little saying about random acts of kindness. Well, what if that's not just something you did once in a while? What if your purpose was to do good? Everywhere you go, if you get on an airplane, it's to help other people get their luggage in the overhead bin. If you're fighting for a taxi, it's to give that taxi to the other person. What if your whole life was about giving and about doing good? It would change the way you think and the way you feel, and of course, it would change the world. And so Do Good is more of a movement. And we have lots of wonderful plans for turning that into a movement. And we're creating an app right now for Do Good in the giving game that allows people to do things for others. And then those people actually post it on the internet what that person did. And then they turn around and do good. So there's a movie called Pay It Forward. And it's based on that principle, only it's a real live version of Paying It Forward, where you can go online and see how many lives you've affected. Because there'll be a serial code that follows all the good you've done, and then the people who turned around and did good, and the things that they did, and so on, until one day you may realize that you've impacted the lives of millions indirectly.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so let's go to the next question. You have been a three-time Emmy Award filmmaker. How do you merge creativity with coaching and life mastery?
Oh, wow. Thank you. First, I'll define creativity as not being, most people confuse creativity with with being artistic. They think of artists are creative, but that's just one form of creativity. So yeah, so some of my awards were, I won because they were artistically conveyed, because I have OCD. And so I used my OCD to make it so good that it won an award, right? But there are much more important forms of creativity. There are creativities as a parent. You can be a creative parent, a creative teacher. You can be creative in your career and in all areas of life. And so something that I do in that area, and I teach this, is how to be more creative, right? How to be more creative is a part of it is by questioning everything. Question your beliefs, question your viewpoint, question everything you're exposed to, and ask, is there a better way? That sparks creativity. Learning to ask, and it becomes creative problem solving, which is learning to ask, so what's great about this when something bad happens? But what's great about it? That triggers your mind to be more creative. Your subconscious loves questions. And so if you phrase the question properly, your subconscious will automatically start thinking creatively. Another question is how can I, and then you fill in the end of that sentence, how can I turn this thing that happened, this dark thing happened, how can I turn that into a positive? How can I make my home more interesting, more fun for my kids? How can I make it more exciting when people come by? How can I? And then whatever that is. And the third is when you run into a barrier and it's like, oh, I guess I can't do that anymore. Well, what can I do? What else can I do? Maybe we can't do this, but we could still do something. And what is it? And I'll finish with the idea that I call myself the Limitless Coach and Limitless University for a reason. It's because I truly believe the cliche, anything we can conceive and believe we can achieve. Because, well, there's nothing we can't conceive. That's our creativity. The mind is able to think of anything. We can conceive any thought. And clearly, if you meet people who don't believe that the earth is round, for example, they believe the earth is flat, clearly we can believe anything. So if we can conceive anything and believe anything, then my goodness, there's nothing we couldn't accomplish. So I see creativity as being, again, far more than just being good at decorating or designing. I see it as a way of releasing your mind to explore. Creative people are explorers. And I believe that there are an infinite number of possibilities to every scenario. And so creativity to me is a mindset. It's the idea that everything could be even more. And you don't do it because you're not satisfied. You do it because that's the game. That's fun. I want to live my life creatively. And you can be creative if you're if you're an athlete. You can be a creative if you're a podcaster. If you're an Uber driver, there are creative ways to do everything more creatively.
Wow, beautiful. Okay. So, Mark, how do you keep yourself relevant and evolving?
Well, for starters, and that's a great question, I read for about 2 hours every day, and I'm not reading, Facebook feeds on somebody's vacation or what they had yesterday for dinner. I read to learn, to gain insight. I stay up with current events. I'm constantly looking for new knowledge, new inventions and discoveries in every area, geopolitics, in science, in any area where I can gain insight. I will read some, I read philosophy, poetry. So I'm constantly, I have what we call a growth mindset. I'm constantly looking for ways to gain greater knowledge and insight, not only for myself, but so I can then share it with the world, so I can share it with my clients. And in terms of being relevant, I think relevance really comes down to influence. Did I make a difference? I don't believe that I have to save the whole world, although that's my moonshot. That's my goal, is change the world by raising human consciousness. But what if I only reach 10 people this year? That's all right. Did I make a difference? Did I make a difference? A parent is relevant in the lives of their children. Make sure that the impact you're having is a positive one. Isn't just one of saying, telling them to, take a bath. Make sure that you're helping your children to learn to, and I use this phrase, to do their best, to be their best. And if you can help another human being accomplish that, then you're relevant.
Beautiful. Okay, my last question for your professional journey round. If you could give one piece of advice to someone striving to live a limitless life, what would it be?
If it were just one piece to live a limitless life, yeah, it would come back to the idea of anything that we can conceive and believe that we can achieve. It would be to adopt what I call a limitless mindset. And to give you an idea of what that looks like, Elon Musk, who even admittedly, he'll even say in his own interviews, he says things like, I'm not that happy. You don't want my life. My life is frustrating and difficult and so on. And so he doesn't tell the world that you should imitate him if you want to be happier, right? But he does get something right. He has two mindsets that are behind his tremendous success financially and career. One of them is an opportunity mindset, and the other is a limitless mindset. And that limitless mindset is basically that truly anything is possible. It's that while we may not be able to do everything we want, we can do anything we want. The everything would require infinite resources. You'd have to live forever to do everything. But we could do anything. And if you just pick one thing or two, or maybe in his case, 5 things, he actually believes that he is limitless. And so he pursues things that others wouldn't pursue.
Oh, beautiful. So let's go to the next round and understand Mark as a person. Tell us about a family and your formative years.
Okay. And of course, I will say that the life of an entrepreneur, personal and career overlap a lot. It's almost impossible to separate the two, right? One of them builds on the other. However, I can say that my family is so important to me. My brothers, my sister, we have a wonderful relationship. We live all over the country, all over America. We're not close together physically, but we always find ways to see each other. We have a thread on our phone, and all of us get on there and we talk about things, excuse me, all the time. I have 3 children who I love dearly, who I'm constantly watching to see who they become. It's kind of like when we plant seeds in a garden. If you plant tomato seeds, you're going to get tomatoes. But when it comes to our children, it's like planting mystery seeds. You plant the seed and you fertilize and water it, but you don't know what the heck it's going to grow into. Is it a tomato or a watermelon or a sunflower or a combination of all of them? And so I'm always watching to see who will they become. And so it's not a parent's job to decide who they become. It's a parent's job to water them and fertilize them so that whatever they become, they can become the most of that. And much of that has really been come of my formative years. As a child, I had a very enlightened mother. And although she wasn't highly educated, she read as I do. She read for hours every day, and she read from every religious doctrine. She read from every philosophy. She was studying the great philosophers and the great minds, and she shared this. And she became a truly enlightened being. And so I was raised by someone who was, and the difference between, I say the difference between being empowered and enlightened is, empowerment is great, but empowerment is about the ability to influence the world around us. And so very wealthy people are empowered, great teachers are empowered, they make a difference in the world around us, but we can't control the world around us. But we can control the world within. the world in our mind. And that's what enlightenment is. It's the ability to understand and influence the world within, where we truly live. And I was raised understanding that concept. And so I was constantly feeding my mind. And at the same time, my mom wasn't great at picking enlightened husbands. So my father was an ex-World War II Marine, and he had witnessed the most horrific things you can imagine. He was on all the islands that where almost everyone was killed. So he had severe PTSD. And World War II combatants, oftentimes the way they cured PTSD was through alcohol. They didn't even have a word for it. And so my father became an alcoholic. He was actually a successful businessman, but he was still an alcoholic. In fact, died of cirrhosis of the liver. But one thing that was interesting, he didn't really have any use for kids. He just didn't really care about having kids. And so I grew up not feeling like I was important, not feeling like I was enough, because my dad never came to see me. He never spent time with me, never threw a baseball, or in your sport, it would be cricket, never played one single round of cricket with me. So because of that influence, it made me strive to want to be even more so that I could maybe one day earn his love. But they got divorced when I was young, and my mom remarried. And the guy she married was also an alcoholic, only he was abusive. And he was both physically and emotionally abusive. And so living in that environment was very, very difficult and challenging. And my mom didn't have a lot of resources. She was a hairstylist, so she didn't make a lot of money. But what she did do is she had cancer, and she couldn't leave my stepfather because she needed his insurance. So what she did was she gave us armor. She gave us a shield. She taught us how to still find joy and happiness in our life, even though we lived in a very violent home, even though we were continually experiencing abuse. She showed us how to stand up to it, how to survive it, and maybe even how to thrive. And so if it weren't for those abusive scenarios, again, I wouldn't have become who I am. And this continued until I was 17 years old, and I was still in high school. And it turned out he never paid his taxes. And so I came home from school one day, and the government was taking our home. And they auctioned our home off, and they took our cars, and they took everything we had. And my mom and my stepdad moved away to the other side of the country. And I stayed. And I said, I'm not coming with you. And I was still in school. And so I moved into a car. And so I lived in a car, and eventually in somebody's attic of an old home, and then in somebody's basement, a garage. And I did that until I graduated from high school. And then I went on to build my life and my career. So again, these things that we're so terrified of terrible things happening, I don't think that I'd change a thing. Of course, Goethe wrote, "That which does not destroy us makes us stronger." And so I'm a product of a very challenging but interesting childhood that helped to shape and form and forge my character and help me become who I am and help me care about others with challenges.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. My next question, we continue the conversation. How do you spend your down time when you're not coaching or creating films?
Pickleball. You know what? It's pickleball. It's a new sport. It's the fastest growing sport in America. So those listening may not know what it is. You will, because it's kind of like cricket is such a huge sport, and football, soccer is such a huge sport. Well, in America, pickleball is becoming the #1 sport. It's going to surpass football and baseball and basketball and all of our sports, and it could become so internationally. We'll find out, but I do spend a fair amount of time playing pickleball. It's fun. It's interesting, and it's a game that's very social. It's kind of like a cross between tennis and badminton. So it's played on a smaller court with a ball and a paddle, and usually there's four people, and so it's very social. You can talk with each other, and you can laugh and have fun, and I get great exercise doing that. So that's one of the interesting things I do. Of course, I also love to spend time with my family, my friends. We go out to dinner a lot, and we go on hikes, and I mountain bike. I do a fair amount of traveling with my downtime. And again, I read a couple of hours every day, and that's some of my downtime experience. And so I lead a very social life. And I will admit, as a filmmaker, I do like good movies. And once in a while, there'll be a television series that's good. So I have I have my own movie theater, and so I'll go in there sometimes. And for me, I get up early, and by the time it's dark outside, because this energy I have right now, this is how I am all day, and this is how I coach, with lots and lots of energy. And so by the end of the day, I'm done. I'm so exhausted. My body's tired. My brain is worn out. I can't think very clearly anymore. And so sometimes I'll just turn on the television and just sit back and relax and watch some entertaining or humorous or inspirational show. So it's kind of a mix of everything.
Okay. So what's on your playlist for movies, web series?
Oh, well, movies, definitely inspiring movies. I read once that the most inspiring movie in the world, also the most inspiring sports movie, is a movie called Rudy. And it stars Sean Astin as a guy who wants to be a football player, but he's just terrible. He just has no athletic ability. But he wants to be an athlete, and he wants to be a football player at one of the most prestigious universities in the country. And and he's not very bright. So he's not athletic, and he's not bright, and yet he wants to play football for one of the most challenging universities in the country and doesn't have a chance. But what he does have is perseverance. And they studied this, and they found that the one thing that all highly successful people have in common, there was only one thing. It wasn't how wealthy you are, how many people you know, how attractive or how intelligent. It was perseverance. And so I love movies that teach principles and philosophies, that teach things that we can use in our own lives. And so that's also the same with television shows. And admittedly, because in addition to OCD, I also have ADHD. So my mind is all over the place, and I'm constantly changing directions. And so I don't have a specific podcast that I follow, a specific podcast host. I just get on my news feed, and when a topic comes up that I'm excited about, I'll click on it. And so I let the subject matter dictate which podcasts I watch or listen to. And so I can tell you the topics, but not as much, not as often the name of the podcast or even who the host is. And I apologize to you for that, because they should know you as a host and know your show. But that's just kind of been my tendency. And I think part of it may be just ADHD. So that hopefully will answer that question.
Okay. So from movies, we go to books. So what's the most memorable book you have read, and how did it influence you?
When I was 12 years old, my mom decided I was old enough to start understanding more comprehensive concepts and things about life and personal development and positive psychology and so on. And so she handed me two books. One was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and the other was Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. And he was a psychologist and a plastic surgeon. And he had recognized that he could take a human being and make a huge change to their face with plastic surgery. But because they still saw themselves in a certain way in their mind, they'd look in the mirror and they'd look the same to themselves. They couldn't see the difference. And he couldn't understand that. And then he'd have somebody else where he'd just remove a mole, some one little thing. And they'd look in the mirror and go, oh my gosh, yeah, you can hardly recognize me. And so he started realizing psycho, the mind, cybernetics, the body. He started realizing the power that the mind has over physical reality. And so I started building on that. And then, of course, Think and Grow Rich was the idea. It was built around growing rich and making more money, but I realized early on that you could apply it to anything. Think and grow rich, think and grow happy, think and grow fulfilled. In other words, take control of your mind and you take control of your life. And so, of course, since then, I've read several thousand books. Those were perhaps the most influential. And from after that, I started just adding. In fact, I'll give you an example. I think your viewers will appreciate this. One moment. Eventually, I'd read so many books that I wanted to now start getting into the minutia. And so here's a book, The Mind. Okay. This book is, oh, I don't know, close to 1,000 pages long. And look at how tiny the text is. So if it were normal size text, this book would be this thick. And I started reading books like this because I'd learned as much as I could through conventional means. And so I said, I want to know even more and more and more. And so at that point, I could say, well, now I could give you a list of several thousand books that I've read. All of them influenced me in one way or another. But those first two books are the ones that actually set me on this path. So they are, to me, the most powerful because of that.
Wow. Okay, Mark, if you could travel anywhere in the world tomorrow, where would it be and why?
Well, I traveled to India so I could see you and we could go and have coffee together. Is that a good answer? Maybe I should run for president. If I could
Lovely,
travel
lovely,
anywhere. I'm sorry, what was that? Oh, lovely. Yes, thank you.
lovely.
Oh my
I
gosh,
love it.
I have so many places on my bucket list. I have not been to India. I've not been to uh, uh, gosh, I won't waste your time, all the places I excuse me, haven't been. But the answer will probably surprise you. Uh, I would travel to where my children are so I could just spend quality time with them. And it wouldn't matter if it was in someplace beautiful or someplace warm or cold or rainy. It would just be to be with the people I love. And that would be the thing that drove me there.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. What's a fun fact that people don't know about you?
Oh, wow. Well, if I tell you, then they'll know. It's probably something I've kept secret because actually I live a very transparent life. And I teach that to my clients. If you have to keep it a secret, are you sure you should be doing it? Maybe, what if you lived your life with such integrity that you have no secrets, that everyone knows everything there is? I don't keep it a secret that I have OCD or that I have ADHD because I want my clients to know I can relate. You've got challenges, I've got challenges, but I'm not a victim. I didn't let any of those turn me into a victim. I don't hide the fact that I grew up in an abusive relationship. I don't hide the fact that I was involved in a 5.5-year divorce. All the challenges of my life, it's like, yeah, and I'm sure you have your challenges too. And so I think the better answer would be, I don't know if there's anything they don't know because I don't hide. I just say, this is who I am. I'm not perfect. No one is. And that's okay. Again, I'm doing my best to be my best, and that's enough. So I don't have any reason to keep a secret from you. So that would be my real, more powerful answer, I believe.
Wow. Okay. What's a hobby or skill you have picked up recently?
Okay, yeah, pickleball.
Okay.
Pickleball. I have so many things that I want to learn because I really believe that the mind is like a muscle,
Yeah.
plasticity. even though the brain physically may shrink in physical dimensions, they find we can continue building our neuronal connections. We can keep on making the mind more and more powerful by, use it or lose it, right? And it's not just about reading, it's also about doing things and experiencing things that will develop the mind. So I can say as early as this morning, I'm buying a new home, and they sent out a thing saying, hey, we want to sell the furniture. Are you interested in any of it? And in there, one of the things was a baby grand piano. And because of my filmmaking and so on, I developed musical skills because I wrote the lyrics, and I would compose and arrange some of the pieces, but I never really learned an instrument. I played the saxophone when I was in middle school, but I dropped that, and I never really learned an instrument. I always said I wanted to learn the keyboard, because you can take a keyboard, and make it sound like a piano or a saxophone or any instrument. So you learn the keyboard, and it's like learning to play all instruments. And I know that some of the great minds, I know Albert Einstein played the violin, and they talk about how music develops the brain, learning music. And so I first didn't think anything about the baby grand. I don't play the piano. And I thought, yeah, but if I bought a piano, I can tell you, I want my money's worth. I would learn to play it. And so I literally am thinking, wow, I wonder if I could get a deal on that. And then that'll be my next new thing, is I'm going to learn to play the piano at almost 70 years old. And I don't care if anybody ever hears me, but I know that it's going to somehow make my life richer.
Wow, beautiful. Okay, my last two questions are reflective ones. Uh, so, what legacy would you like to leave behind?
Oh, well, of course, family is important. So I would definitely want to leave a legacy for my children. I would want them to not be proud of me in the way that ego drives it, but rather I would want them to see something that I had accomplished or done that makes them want to be the best that they can be. Uh, I'd want them to see themselves through my eyes, to see how beautiful they are and how much I love and care about them. And yet, because my mom asked me to leave the world a better place, I would look out beyond my children and my own family, and I would hope that I could convey some message that could perhaps, again, spark a movement, uh, be that in concepts like just do good. I don't care what it is. Just let your life be about making a difference. Let your life be about somehow helping others, expecting nothing in return. What would your life look like? And the idea that, and there's nothing that we can't do if we are truly committed and passionate and we persevere. So pick something, but pick something that does more than make your life better. Make sure it makes a difference in the lives of others, and make sure that you do live that purpose-driven life. So several things.
Beautiful, beautiful, Mark. Now, my last question will be a googly one for you. Describe Mark in one line.
In one line. You know what? I actually put out a little thing to the people in my life, and I asked them, and I do this with my clients. I say to them, find out how the world sees you. Who are you for them? Who are you being in their life? And take the things that the positive traits they see in you, and build on that, because those are the areas where you can live in flow. You can truly take yourself, to the highest level. And so I asked them, I said, can you give me one word that you think describes me best? And I sent that out to, I don't know, 20 or 30 people, at least that, because I got at least 20 people saying the same word. And so, and I was happy to hear the answer. It was enough for me, and it was inspiring. They said, Mark, you inspire me, and you inspire others to believe that we can truly live fulfilling and meaningful lives. So I guess that
Beautiful,
would be it.
beautiful. So now let's go to the next round and have some fun, the rapid fire round.
All
Uh,
right.
you're an early bird or a night owl?
Oh, totally early. Absolutely. I'm an early
Wow.
bird. Always have been.
Okay.
They wouldn't let me stay at
Okay.
my mother's sister wouldn't let me stay at their house because I would wake up at 4:30 or 5 in the morning and I'd be out in the other room making noise. They said he can't come here anymore.
Okay. Your go-to comfort food.
Oh gosh. Oh, it's embarrassing. You say comfort food. I wish I could say watermelon because it's healthier, but it's actually Cherry Garcia. It's an ice cream that has amaretto and cherries and little pieces of dark chocolate. And I don't keep any of it in the house because I would be 200 pounds heavier.
Wow. Okay. Favorite quote or mantra you live by?
My favorite. Okay, it's a little bit lengthy, but I've said it before, but I will say it again because it's powerful. It's in the idea that we don't need to be perfect. So it's the idea, it's about self-acceptance and self-validation. Because the whole world, we're all driven for validation. You think, what do people really want? Well, they want to be happy. Actually, more than anything, we want to be validated. We want to be told that we're okay. And so we keep trying to be better and be perfect, hoping that we'll be there someday, rather than saying, wait a minute, how about if you learned this phrase? I'm okay. I'm not perfect. No one is. And that's okay. I'm doing my best to be my best. And that's enough. And that is my favorite
Beautiful.
mantra. And it keeps me in a state of humility and a state of peace and confidence.
Beautiful. Beautiful. A guilty pleasure TV show or series?
Okay. Guilty pleasure. Oh, oh my gosh. Because, I do typically watch shows that I think will help me learn and grow. But right now, I admit I've been watching, I don't know if you know who he is, but he's an internet sensation called Mr. Beast. And he has hundreds of millions of followers. And he has a game show on right now where he's offered $5 million to the winner. And it started with 1,000 people, and now they're down to about 50. And all along the way, people have made hundreds of thousands and up to $1 million. But the ultimate winner, somebody just won an island, but the ultimate winner gets $5 million in cash, and they do a new show every week, and I can't stop watching it. I just can't stop watching to see what these challenges are. And I can't think of the name of it, but if you type Mr. Beast TV show into the internet, you'll find it instantly. And it's really exciting to see because the challenges are crazy. They're things that you're like going, no way, I can't believe people are doing that. So, admittedly, and I'm not learning a whole lot from it, but it is really fun to watch.
Okay, cool. I'll do that. Okay. Uh, who is your if you want to invite someone for your dream dinner, who will it be?
Alive or dead? if
Yeah,
it
living or
if it
dead.
was
Yeah.
somebody dead, it would be Gandhi. If it's somebody who's
Wow.
already come, it would be definitely, I would sit down with Gandhi. I think
Interesting.
enlightened
Interesting.
minds
Your fa
in the world.
Interesting. Your favorite color?
Uh, it's kind of, well, I have something on my desk, but you won't be able to tell because when you change it, it changes colors, but it's kind of a turquoise bluish green. It's the color of the Mediterranean Sea just before
Yeah, yeah.
sunset.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. What do you love the most? Being a coach, a filmmaker, or author?
Oh, being a coach. Absolutely. Being a filmmaker was exciting. It was fun. It was creative. It made a difference. Being an author, something similar. And yet, you as an author will realize you know this. They'll read the book and they'll go, "Wow, that was really good." And then they put it down and then they go back to their life. And only a
Wow.
small handful will read it and actually do it and actually keep doing it until they've mastered it. And so I became a coach because I wanted to stay in their life longer. My coaching clients sign on for a full year. They're stuck with me for an hour and a half every week for a solid year. And by the time I'm through with them, I know that I have truly transformed their life. So it's not scalable, but it is my favorite thing of all. And they're all
Wow.
wonderful.
Beautiful. So my last question, the rapid fire round: tea or coffee?
Oh, chai tea. There's a company called Tazo, but it's kind of a combination of tea and coffee. You can drink it warm or cold, and you can put uh, milk or almond milk in it. But I love the flavor of chai, so chai tea.
Okay, let's do the toast.
Oh yes, absolutely. And to you and to your happiness. May you
Yeah.
may you spend your life pursuing. I don't care if you get there or not, but may you spend your life pursuing your dreams.
Wow. So you are the winner
Do I
of
get the
this book.
book? Did I get it?
Yes. Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Oh, there it
So
is. I can't
I'll
wait.
I'll autograph it and send it to you. So friends, it was a lovely conversation having with Mark. Watch this episode to learn the secrets of mastering a limitless life, the art of balancing multiple roles, and the power of purpose-driven living. So Mark is wearing and doing multiple roles like a coach, filmmaker, author, psychotherapist, and he is wonderfully managing all these roles. And he's a wonderful family man, and he loves pickleball. So watch this episode, and you get to inspired from Mark's journey. And there are like 300 plus episodes at the Coffee Conversation Show. Subscribe, watch them, get inspired, and if you want to be featured like Mark, uh, visit our website, theemergingindiaforum.com, or our social media handles, and our team will invite you to have coffee conversation over a cup of coffee. Thank you.
Namaste.